Hello and welcome to this second chat view with the lovely Ariaa Jaeger. Welcome, Ariaa. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having me again.
You're very welcome. Last time we were talking about the dolphins, that you managed to get this big social media campaign up and running to save, just put everything on hold for one day.
It really wasn't my intent when I got onto Twitter 3 years ago. It wasn't my intent to start myself in social media.
Yeah.
It kind of ran away with me when I started posting my Ariaa quotes and Ariaa-isms, and it has taken off ever since. And so I'm grateful, but it has been like a full-time job.
It is a full-time job.
We understand that, we really do, because we know how much time we spend on social media as well, and it really can become quite time consuming.
Yes, I think you have, the secret is that you allocate, moments in the day when you're going to spend time on it. Otherwise, you really can just spend all day doing things.
You can.
Across the board,
It's
between
true.
Twitter and Facebook and everything else.
Yeah.
So,
I think, like we talked about last time, I think it's been instrumental in helping, when, for example, we were talking about how it's been effective to tweet a lot of posts about the Tajin, Japan dolphins being slaughtered at the Cove and reaching out to ambassadors and reaching out in issues in our country, reaching out to senators and trying to affect change for animal rights, for human rights. Those are the things that, to me, social media has really become the background and foreground for being able to reach an audience in the masses instantaneously. And even when we had the earthquakes, I had predicted the Japan earthquakes a week in advance. And even though you take a risk of looking like an idiot if you're wrong, I went ahead and tweeted it and put earthquake, Japan heads up.
oh my
gosh. And because you don't want to scare anybody, but at the same time, and I have oftentimes when I know there's one coming, like with Haiti and Chile, I've posted things like, get your earthquake supplies ready. Those in seismographically active regions might want to check your earthquake supplies. The earth is rumbling underneath you. Recently, I did the same when there was that big one down there in Indonesia. I said something about Southern Asia or something to that effect. The earth is moving beneath you, heads up. Because again, you don't want to create fear, and it is very hard to pinpoint the certain exact regions. When it's Indonesia, it can be anything from India all the way to Thailand. So, when you have a general sense of where it might be, you just want to give a general warning to help people. Again, forewarned, forearmed kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I do think that social media has been so instrumental in making a difference in this world.
It has. It's fantastic.
It's amazing.
And when you say, you tweeted in advance, is that a feeling that you get, some kind of energy that you tune into, or some kind of, vision that you get, or do you just, how do you know these things?
Well, on Japan, I had a dream. I had a dream that there would be back-to-back tens. And when I have dreams that are prophetic, that I know are messages, I always start emailing all of my prayer partners and my friends to start praying for that region. And with Japan, it was really clear it was back-to-back tens. And by that, they meant the 10 tsunami and the 10 earthquake, big, large-scale events. You have to remember, the way Spirit speaks many times is not specific. It's in metaphor or symbology. So the way that your angels convey it to you may not be exactly verbatim the way it's going to unfold. When they said back-to-back tens, all I knew is Japan was fixing to get hit and to get on the line and start getting people to pray for that and to put the warnings out. When I foresaw the TWA crash in 1996, I didn't know what to do because I had seen the exact plane number. I had seen the area that it was going down. I saw the number of people on board. And the thing about it is you don't want to create fear or panic. You also, with so many people these days, you don't want to be a sensationalist. You want to be very pragmatic and very grounded in what you're receiving. Because I'm not a doom doomsday prophet. I don't want to be categorized in that crazy nutcase zone.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you have special gifts, you have to find a way to wield them with wisdom and not just, vagrantly throwing them out there.
Yeah.
And so with that, I really prayed about it and said, what do you want me to do? Because you're showing me this weeks in advance. And it really was clear that we can pray a lot of these events. We can minimize the damage. 30 people missed that plane in Chicago because of a storm that suddenly came in. By 20 minutes, they missed that plane. So 30 people were not on that flight that were supposed to be on it. That's historically known. It's in several of the books. So you can oftentimes minimize the damage. You probably cannot change it. You can minimize it, but you probably can't change it because, again, it's not our world. It's a whole creator world going on out there.
It's
So
a whole universe, isn't it?
Goodness me.
We're watching the series Touch now. Have you ever seen it? Touch.
no.
It's really interesting because there's
Oh yeah.
there's a little boy in it with autism, and he has like prophecies, but he reveals them through numbers, and it's the way he's getting in touch with his father. He's actually communicating with his father through this, and his father's actually, doing things like this. It's funny because there's a plane crash in it as well, and this one guy didn't get on the plane because of a series of events.
Yeah, I mean these things sound as if they're just on television, but then there are people like you that are really having these dreams and really feeling these things, and it's quite incredible, really, isn't it?
It is.
Well, it is, but it isn't. There was a time right after the death experience I had in Austria. I had a 27-minute clinical death in Austria when I weighed only 92 pounds and had multiple sclerosis symptoms. I was really walking with two canes.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I went to the highest Alp in the Alpine range, and my body shut down. I was with my husband at the time, and he couldn't get help. So suffice to say, because we were so high up there in the glaciers, to send somebody down took a half an hour to get down and another half an hour to get back up. And it was one of those experiences that when I realized all of these gifts had come, I was not comfortable with it at all. I was a very reluctant person with all of these spiritual gifts. It was overwhelming. It was daunting. I didn't know how to react to it. I had tears with the TWA crash. I felt like I should have done more, but you can't call the FAA and you can't call agencies and just throw it out there. With the Northridge earthquake, I actually did call Caltech University. And I said, there's an earthquake right underneath me within a 5-mile radius of my home. And they said, basically, you're an idiot, lady. They were like, there's no fault lines in the San Fernando Valley. And I said, yes, there are, because I'm telling you, it's right underneath my feet. Why don't you just put out a general warning? They said, no, we're not going to panic the public on your whim. Well, suffice to say, 8 days later, when the Northridge earthquake happened within a 3-mile radius. The epicenter was within a 3, not 5-mile radius of my home. Guess who was calling? They wanted to know how I knew that. And I told them, and again, scientists don't necessarily give any credence whatsoever to this kind of, these kinds of gifts. So, but sure enough, it was right there. And so I think a lot of times it's more about embracing your gifts and learning how to hone them and use them with wisdom. There's many times I get things that I will not post it or I will not let people know. On the other hand, I will gather 50 people together and we'll start praying about the event, or I'll email a lot of my colleagues and we'll get on it energetically to try to shift things. I'll tell you something. Wow. You remember the Gulf oil spill?
Mm. Yeah.
What people don't realize about the infinite, about the gifts of the divine, and which everybody have, by the way. Everybody has access to them or they have them internally. What people don't realize is when that oil spill took place, you can actually dissipate the oil with your mind. Mind over matter is a known science. This is not, airy-fairy, bubble gum. This is real. And it is a known fact that there were thousands of us that were dissipating the oil in the ocean. And all of a sudden, the scientists announced that there was some new bacteria that started eating the oil drops in the ocean. That They couldn't imagine what it was. They had never seen anything like it, but they did claim scientifically there was something eating that oil, that some new bacteria, some new yeah. And I really believe that has everything to do with our intent, because intent is how you move mountains. You put the intention out there, and then the mountain will move with knowing. But you have to know that you know that you know. You can't ever doubt. You know, I've done healings over the years on people that I didn't go into it to heal anyone. I never do, because if you become attached to the outcome, let's say somebody calls me, they say, you know, Ariaa, I've got a cat that's dying. Will you help release it from the body? Well, I don't get to make that decision. What I do is I let the energy come through my hands and through my body, and whatever is between that animal and spirit is what's going to transpire. I mean, it's not something I get to decide. I just let the energy come through and become the pure instrument for that energy, and whatever's supposed to happen will happen. So, you know, you have to learn to get the ego completely out of the way. And you have to learn that, you know, years ago when I first realized I could do this, there was a bird, and I'll never forget this because it was a very big magpie. In Colorado, we have some of the most beautiful magpies you've ever seen, and they're large animals. And we came home one day, my husband and I, and there was blood all over the living room. And I mean, on the walls, on the carpet, there were feathers everywhere. And my cat had gotten hold of one of these magpies, and my husband said, Ariaa, let it go. Ariaa, don't just let it go. Don't do it. And I said, no, there's a reason we came home at this minute. So I picked the animal up. Its wing was bent backwards and broken. I took the animal out underneath the tree, and I put it on a big, huge chestnut tree leaf. And I started doing what I do best. And I heard the angels cut me off and say, okay, that's enough. Now go inside and don't look back. Just go inside. So I went inside, and this all sounds really ridiculous, but this is really true. I went inside, and it was my habit to cook. My ex-husband is from Germany, and we always ate a big lunch, so I cooked a big lunch every day. So it was my habit to make a big lunch every day. So I was making a big lunch, and I was wanting so much to doubt. I wonder if it worked. I wonder if it worked. But if you do that, it won't work. What you've just done, that negates everything. So all I kept saying is, heal it or kill it, but don't let it suffer. Heal it or kill it, but don't let it suffer. Heal it, kill it, but don't let it suffer. And everybody knows that I use that as the H&K ritual. Heal it or kill it, but don't let it suffer. And a few minutes after we sat down to eat the meal, I heard the angel say, now you can go look. And as I ran to the backyard to see what had happened, that bird stood up on one leg. The other one had been chewed off by my cat on one leg, and it flew off God's tree. And you know, again, it just really taught me how to hone the gifts and how to use the gifts without getting your ego involved or without letting any doubt interfere with that pure energy that's coming through you.
Yeah. I suppose the doubt kind of acts like a barrier. It stops it.
It stops it, yeah. And we are, you know, we're not really taught to trust ourselves that way, are we, in this society? So we're not really,
in our Western culture.
In the Western culture, no, it's definitely, you know, that all that kind of stuff is considered to be really, you know, like what you said, weird and very strange. So it is very normal for, you know, for people when they do get this gift or when they feel it to just put it away and say, no. You know, so I can understand how you must have been feeling at the time. Yeah.
I find it an oxymoron that Christians go around taunting that Jesus was raised from the dead and that Mary conceived immaculately, and yet they don't believe that we can do the same things, that we still have the same modern day access to miracles that we do. I find it inconceivable that you can categorize it and compartmentalize it to a time long ago when it is today. You can do the same thing. You can move mountains with your mind and with your heart, with love and with knowing. You know, one of the greatest things I teach my clients is don't use force. You know, I had a girl call me the other day and she said, I think I've got demons. And she said, and I've been saying, get away from me, get away from me. I said, you're just causing it to stick. What you're doing is acting like a magnet. Resistance, in fact, an Ariaa quote says, whatever you resist, persist. So if you show resistance, you're engaging it. You're engaging the battle. When you become neutral And you come from this place of love, this place of compassion, this place of understanding, this place of knowing that you have all the power within you for any daily event. I don't care if you're battling demons or if you're battling, a mortgage crisis. Yeah. There is a moment where you have to come to this center place in your being, and you have to just come from the knowing that, look, if you think about it, hasn't every major trauma in your life always worked out? This too will pass. It always does. It always does.
This is what we say. We've actually written about this. This too shall pass. That's what we say. It does actually pass. Yeah.
Well, it does if you're still here.
Well, if you're still here and you survived it, yeah, definitely.
And if you're not, probably in some other dimension.
Fatty, I loved one of your quotes. I think it said that the most beautiful person is the healthy emotional being. What was it? Something like that. I really love that.
Yeah, an emotionally healthy being is the most beautiful person. I mean, that really is. I don't know the exact quote. I don't actually have all my quotes memorized.
I think I got. Oh, here it is. There is nothing more beautiful.
In my brain.
Yeah. Here it is. It says there is nothing more beautiful than an emotionally healthy human being. I mean, I love that. I love that. Yeah, because I think
that says it all.
That says it all. Yeah. So being emotionally healthy.
And like you girls in the work you do, you know as well as I do that we all have our stuff. Yeah. I've dealt with so many women, and we all have abandonment issues, and we don't know if it's past life, present life, future life. We don't know where it comes from, but we all seem to have this abandonment thing, And so the thing about becoming an emotionally healthy human being is it's not an instantaneous thing that you can just fix and turn it off, but that you're cognizant of it, that you're constantly monitoring and working on it and not projecting it off onto somebody else. Yes. If you really own your stuff, and I think you girls, you follow the same train of thought. If you really, I go to bed every night and I say, okay, how could I have done that better? And what was in me that reacted that way? Why did I react that way? Let's break it down and try to heal it.
Yeah.
And I think when you start really owning, the thing about enlightenment or reaching a higher level of consciousness is it's a lot of work. You have to constantly stay on yourself as to what's triggering this and what's triggering that, and why did you behave that way, or why are you feeling grumpy for no reason, or and we all, as human beings, we all run the plethora of these emotions. It's a matter of checking yourself at the door each day and not judging yourself, because look, we're human. This is school. This is university down here. So we're supposed to feel some of these things, But it's how you react to them. It's how you deal with them. It's how you integrate them and how you heal them that really counts to how emotionally healthy you're going to be. Taking personal responsibility for what you're putting into the world.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's a lovely way.
Brilliant. Yeah.
I think we'll end it here. And anyone that wants to get in touch with you, Ariaa, they can come to your website, can't they?
Yeah.
Ariaa, is it Ariaa.com?
No, it's just Ariaa.com, ARIAA.com.
Okay, fantastic. And getting more of that wisdom.
And you're available for one-to-one coaching, Skype coaching as well, and anyone.
I am. I do readings for people that are looking to know more about what's coming in their future or what's happened in their past, or they're trying to heal emotions that are left over from childhood. I also do crisis counseling as well as everyday counseling. I teach all the principles of the masters and sages that have been around from the annals of time. I also do healings on people that need me to come if they've got people in the hospital or people that are sick or dying that need either to be released or healed. And again, I don't get to decide that, but it always works. I also do clearings. I'm sorry to say there's a lot of energies right now that people are battling, dark energies, and so I do clearings on things like that as well. But primarily my work is trying to teach people to go within, empower themselves. I teach meditation one-on-one and try to get people to access their own spiritual gifts and tune into their own intuition, so you don't need a guru, you don't need self-help books. You go within and get it straight from the source. That's the best way to not be fooled by anyone.
That's
brilliant. Yeah, the best way. Wonderful. Great talking to
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you to all our viewers for watching all over the world.
Okay. Bye.